This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I are back talking about, well, the NFL. We're going to talk about our mock draft 1.0. With the NFL draft right around the corner, we thought, let's break down our mock draft, 1 to 32. What each player is going to give each team, why do we think that team is going to choose that player, and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben. That's Josh. And it is March, Josh. It's March, which means a few things. March Madness is slowly creeping around the corner, which means brackets are going to get busted. Josh and I have a terrible record on this show when it comes to brackets, but we'll get to that, in a few weeks. But it also means the draft combine's done. We're getting ready for the draft. Baseball is starting. Spring training is way underway. We have some crazy things happening all over the world of sports, in football and in basketball and everything in between. So, Josh, how was your weekend? And how are you feeling about this just crazy month of March we're about to head into where it's just nuts?
Yeah, I was actually listening to some of the guys on Crane and Company talking about the tournament expectations for Auburn. Over the weekend, they actually won at Rupp Arena, beat
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky for the first time since 1988. So Auburn's looking like, the team to beat.
Yeah.
The class, should be a heavy favorite, probably be a pretty popular pick. But as we know, and as the Cranes have pointed out over and over again, Auburn in sports in general is usually a pretty big disappointment when it comes to postseason. So we'll see what happens. Every team is different, though. This is not the
Yeah.
same Auburn team last year that won the SEC tournament, came in hot and lost in the first round. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
see if anything's different. But my weekend was good. Spent Friday in Columbus at the Arnold Classic. Didn't get to go to it the year before with transition in jobs, but was able to make it down again. An event that I've loved going to since college. Just super blast. A lot of fitness enthusiasts down there, a lot of big people in the bodybuilding world, a lot of great former competitors. Finally got to meet Jay Cutler, not the former NFL quarterback, but the four-time Mr. Olympia winner. Just somebody I've never been able to meet in the 7 or 8 times that I've gone. So got to knock that off the bucket list. And yeah, not too bad up here. Pretty good weather for the most part too. We have some warm weather today. It's just been rainy, but how's
Yeah.
it over across the
You
ocean?
know, it's actually the weather's getting better. I mean, I've been wearing shorts for about a week now, but I'm finally getting to the point of the weather where coworkers aren't making fun of me. So that's a good point. That's a good sign. But also, yeah, dude, it's been fun. Football's been going great. We're imports a ride. We have our first two preseason games this weekend. So for our second team and then our first team. So that's exciting. Football's which is always funny that football's in the spring, but hey, we're doing it. It's exciting, and yeah, I'm just ready for March Madness to get here because in a weird way, it's kind of nostalgia for me because over here, obviously, no one really watches it, and so when I do get to watch it, it kind of brings me like I'm back home a little bit, which is going to be fun, and also for my bracket to be great for like the first like hour, and then just go down a toilet like it normally does. So yeah, that's what I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to. To be honest with you.
Well, hey, the NFL Combine happened over the
Yeah.
weekend too. I know there's been a couple headlines. Some of the more interesting ones have been Jalen Milroe's hand growing an inch since the Senior Bowl.
Dude, wild, dude. That's just weird. It makes you
I don't
feel a
know if they
little
just
weird.
measure it weird or if he's been doing some stretches to get his hands to be able to spread out
Yeah.
further. I don't know, but still crazy either way. Matthew Golden is the one that had the fastest 40-yard time amongst wide receivers, not Isaiah Bond. Said he was shooting for 4.2 flat, beat Xavier Worthy's record, ran 4.39, which ain't bad, but still just how can you be that
Yeah.
much slower and think you ever had a shot? And then this one is the one that hits close to home is Will Howard just seemingly not being able to complete a pass
Yeah.
at all. But then, of all people to defend him, Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
So what a combine. But
Yeah. I mean,
that's
look, the combine is one of those things where, like, we've seen guys do really well at the combine and be terrible NFL players. We've seen it now time and time again. And we've also seen dudes that don't do well at the combine. They go to their pro day, they do pretty well, but then they end up still getting drafted where I think we thought they were going to get drafted. So, look, I think you have to balance it, Josh. We've talked about this. You look at combine, but you also look at game film, man. Like game film is just it's different animal. Like look at Will Howard for instance. Like and again, I don't agree with Shador about anything, but the one thing I do agree with is like when you're out there with dudes you don't know, it is a lot harder. I'm seeing this right now with the new quarterback we have. Like it's hard to get into rhythm when you're only doing it for like a 15-20 minute period. So for me, I think it's like take it with a grain of salt, see how he does at the pro day. If he does it again at the pro day, then you're going, okay, something's up. But I still have faith that Will Howard's going to be a really good NFL quarterback. He just got to be in the right place, in the right situation.
Yeah, like game tape, I think, does supersede everything. But
Yeah.
what you do at combine at your pro day can maybe, if things are all equal everywhere else, maybe give you an edge. I know guys like JJ McCarthy just last year kind of had a similar
Hmm.
performance, not being able to hit receivers, and he was still picked 10. We've seen guys like Justin Herbert have incredible NFL combines, just slinging it, hitting every single pass, like right on the dime and going,
Hmm.
in the top 10 like we expected. What else is going to be interesting is seeing a guy like Tez Johnson, who, I mean, was never going to be a first round pick before, but
Hmm.
measures in at 5'9", 155, and then also
155,
runs
dude.
up. That
155
was
is
Josh Burris
ridiculous.
senior year of high school, dude.
That was Ben
And
Bowden
then,
as like a senior in high school, but I was tall.
but he had this rep in at Oregon for like being able to play quick, like being like,
He must
a
be
fast
twitchy. He
guy.
just must be just twitchy. Like he
Very
just looks
twitchy because the
twitchy,
40 time came in at like 4.52 or 4.55, something that's
which
like
is not fast.
it's an
I
average
mean,
wide
it's
receiver
fast, but
speed.
it's not fast.
Yeah, but there can be guys that run like a 4.3 40 that can't run their routes that fast with pads on and with a defense
Yeah.
out there, but there can be some guys that can run a route just as fast as they can run like straight line speed. So maybe that'll play in Tez's favor,
It
but that's
also
something where it's like the combine can
it
sometimes
re-
hurt you.
yeah, it reminds me of Lockett, right? I mean, he just got released by the Seahawks, but that's who he kind of reminds me of, like a dude that you think is fast, but if you really look at the 40 times and then kind of him in an open field, he's not like blazer speed, but he's just quick. I mean, his routes just look fluid, right? Jack
Hmm.
Smith-Njigba, another guy that just looks fluid when he's out there in the routes. And it's kind of what he is.
Yeah. So we'll see how much that affects maybe some of our picks today, but we got Mach 1.0
Yes,
coming out.
sir.
And I was talking to Ben when I was putting mine together. This whole draft
This is
class, it's
just
not even just like
weird, dude.
position specific. It just
Uh,
doesn't seem that strong. Like you
There's
got,
gonna be reaches. There's gonna be reaches. I'm gonna tell you that right now in my draft for sure.
there might be, and we're going to see how much maybe team need affects things, or maybe some of those teams with the early picks might just be like, you know what? The caliber of player that we could get at pick 15 is the same that we could probably get at pick 45 in the second round.
So we're gonna take it.
So we're gonna, yeah, maybe just try to take best player available and not necessarily hit draft needs, but we'll see what happens, Ben.
Yeah.
Writing mine out was tricky, and just before we go, I'll say since the last time we talked, some of the moves that have happened that might affect the way things go this draft is T. Higgins did get franchise tagged by the Bengals.
Hmm.
Debo Samuel traded to Washington. And then Max Crosby today signed the richest deal as a non-quarterback, 3 years, 105
Hmm.
million. So he's averaging about $35 million a season now. Could be a big day for Jamar Chase coming up in the future after that reset the non-QB market.
Hmm.
But we're not going to really predict any trades, although we might speculate on
Yeah,
if
we
a
might
team did
speculate.
trade where they
Yeah,
might go.
that's a
Or
tradition for us. Like we don't
yeah,
really do trades, but we both can agree maybe a player will go in the slot. We just the team might be different, which has happened before
yeah.
for us.
Like right off the bat, I know the Giants were trying to get Matt Stafford and whiffed on that. So I don't know. They could still be trying to go for a veteran quarterback in this market, or maybe if they like a certain quarterback enough and think he might go at one, they might try to trade up a few spots to get him. But we'll address that all at these picks. We got 32 to get through, Ben. Starting
Yeah.
with the Tennessee Titans, I'll just go
Hmm.
ahead and say it seems pretty universal across the board. Everybody's expecting Cam Ward to go first. The quarterback that people would prefer between him and Shadur Sanders and Tennessee. I guess we'll be moving on from Will Howard. People are or not Will Howard, Will Levis, excuse me. Another
Hmm.
white guy that is a lot
Hmm.
more weird than the white quarterback at Ohio State. But yeah, Cam Ward seems to be the guy that everybody's talking about, and a couple other guys that I've heard
Hmm.
mention. We'll see. Maybe it could be Abdul Carter. Maybe it could be somebody trading up to this spot. But Cam Ward
Hmm.
seems to be the popular pick at one right now. So I'll just start there until I hear otherwise.
Cool. 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 I'm
Looks
about
like
to
we're gonna
just
differ, I feel like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's a two phase with this, right? Like, I just don't think the Titans know what they're going to do, which then makes me go, this always worries me because it feels like the Raiders back, what was it, 2014, when they took like what that Farrell guy at the fourth pick, like, what are we doing type thing because they didn't know what they were going to do from, I think it was Colin Farrell from Clemson in the fourth pick. Everyone's like, huh? Um, So for me, I just maybe they stick with Will Levis. Maybe they wait for like later, maybe Jalen Milroe or Will Howard or someone that's just down there a little bit farther where they don't have to pay as much. I'm not sure. I was thinking two guys that could go here. Obviously, you could go tackle with Will Campbell, who's just also a freak. But I'm gonna say this is where you get your edge rusher and Abdul Carter. Look, even though he's coming off an injury and they're gonna have like a slight surgery or whatever, like dude, I've seen this dude play on TV, and like this dude's probably one of the twitchiest dudes I've ever seen come off the edge. Like the dude is just he's an animal. Like, and he's not a big dude. Like he's not a huge guy, but he's just quick, and I think you can move him around. And look, maybe this is where the Titans decide to say, "Hey, let's build around a defense, and then offense can come along, right?" So, yeah, maybe get your quarterback later. But for right now, Mach 1.0, again, Mach 1.0, everyone. I'm putting Abdul Carter number one.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Abdul Carter fan too. I think that Penn State also has like a decent reputation of developing some solid defensive guys, like just a couple to mention in the league
Micah
right now. Joey
Parsons,
Porter, yeah, Michael Parsons is the big one. Joey Porter Jr. is doing all right in Pittsburgh. I know some Steelers fans that like him over there.
Puslesny from way back when.
Paul Puslesny back in the day, yep. So speaking of Abdul Carter, I actually got him going two to Cleveland, and that's based on the fact that I do believe that as much as Andrew Berry says we're not trading Miles Garrett is still on his media tour doing interviews about why he wants out of Cleveland and what
It is
the
sad though,
motivation is
man.
for
It
that.
is
It
sad.
is. It's you hate to see it, but it's like okay,
I mean,
if we're
I get
going
it,
to
but also,
if we're going to trade Miles Garrett and Abdul Carter sitting here at two, I think it's a cheap, easy fix to go out and get like your next Miles Garrett, I guess, on that defensive line.
oh, the
Uh,
Texas A&M defensive end's looking pretty good too.
yeah,
Had a good
Shamar Stewart.
combine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got him in the top 10 somewhere. I'll let you know when he comes up. But yeah, Abdul Carter, basically just like filling in the gap that I believe will be left by Miles Garrett.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I see that too. Like, there is still part of me. Like, again, this could be a ploy by Andrew Berry, just saying no, 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 and so teams give higher and higher bids, which is very possible. That's what Andrew Berry's doing. He's not a dumb guy. But I also think that this maybe is a chance where even if they do trade Miles Garrett, do you take a lesser of a defense for a year and you get a quarterback that maybe you like? And again, I don't like these quarterbacks in this draft class. And if I won't say I don't like them. I think that a lot of these guys, if they were in any other draft class, Cam Ward, Shador would probably be late first rounders, maybe second rounders, if you had the other talent. And so for me, I could go either here. I'm going to go Cam Ward here. I think Cam Ward, I like him better out of the two. And honestly, I don't like either. But I would take Cam Ward because I feel like he doesn't make as many mistakes as what Shador can do at times, and also like the attitude I've heard of Shador. Like you've heard like some of the executives are like almost annoyed that like the way he carries himself. Which look, if you know his dad, like
It makes sense.
that's just kind of the way he is. But I do think that's going to keep Shador back a little bit. I think that's going to affect him because I think there's going to be some places that just are not going to tolerate that. But yeah, I'm going to go Cam Ward at number two.
Yeah, Cam Ward's definitely a dog. I personally like Shador better as a player, but yeah, I wouldn't shock me if the attitude, or at least the way that he carries himself, does
We don't want
make
another
some teams
Deshaun
a little
issue. That's all
nervous.
I'm going to say. We don't want
Yeah,
another
just
Deshaun issue.
don't give a guy 240 million
Yeah.
guaranteed, right? So we're at three now, and we're with the
Yep.
Giants. And I was just saying, like, the Giants could be one of those teams that maybe trade up if they like a quarterback enough. I know they're looking for one. They were shopping for Matthew Stafford and failed there, but there's still some veterans in free agency. Sam Darnold's a name that I could maybe see being a fit there, or maybe they try to go and trade for another veteran, or maybe bring in Kirk Cousins. I don't know, but just the fact they were at least looking around for veterans would make me think maybe they aren't too high on any of the rookie quarterbacks this class. So this is a situation where I can see the Giants addressing the need while also taking probably the best player available here and going and getting Travis Hunter, someone that can boost the defense, the
Interesting.
secondary,
He
maybe
fits that. He
be.
fits that too, like that culture too,
Yeah,
I think.
it's kind of like he's not like Shador, but he's definitely got like big city vibes to him. He can handle the spotlight, I think, pretty well in New York. Maybe he's a guy that can play offense sometimes in spot situations opposite Malik Neighbors, but we'll see how much he actually does play both sides in the
Mhm.
NFL. Right now, he's going as a corner. That's what he went to the combine as. So Travis Hunter, 3 to the Giants.
Yeah, I was really trying to figure out, what would I do here? Like again, I like what you said right there with Travis Hunter. I think this does fit him. I think he is kind of those guys that fits there. But I think Shadur Sanders, I do think the Giants will take a quarterback, and I think Shadur will kind of be there. I don't know if they're going to be able to go move up if they want to. Um, if the Browns are just like, hey, we're going to take an edge, and they kind of are public about it, then I think they'll just sit. I think they'll take either guy, but Shador, look, he fits New York, man. Like, there's any guy like outside of Travis Hunter, if there's any guy on this team, like he fits New
Mhm.
York. Like him and Jackson Dart are about the only two guys that, like quarterback wise, I go they can fit in New York. Like just the way they are, their persona. Um, and look, I think Shador he fits what the Giants want. Look, the only other guy I was thinking here, not necessarily Travis Hunter, I was thinking maybe you get Will Campbell and you just say, let's still get a quarterback, but we get a guy that we can put there at tackle. But for me, I just think Shador fits here and he kind of fits that culture and maybe a change of culture that you need.
Yeah. So that takes us to 4, New England, and you just brought up Will Campbell. Looks like he's universally accepted as the best offensive lineman in this draft. The
Justin
combine, I
Simmons
know,
might be, though. If he was healthy, I think there'd be a conversation from Ohio
maybe.
State.
Uh, the one thing I heard about Will Campbell from the combine was his arms are a little short, but it's one of those things where it's
Oh,
like
yeah. And he dominated.
You can watch the tape at LSU and see that like he's a bad dude. So New England's got a lot of money to spend. We talked about it, how they got the most cap space right now, and we'll see what they all address needs wise with free agency. But right now, it's like you just went out and got Drake May last year, rookie quarterback. Now you gotta, get some protection for him, I think. So bring in best offensive lineman available here. Get Will Campbell, pair him up with Drake, and hopefully that's a duo that can stick together for a while for the Patriots.
No, yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with the best player off the board. I think if you're the Patriots, right, you have new coaching staff. It'd be an interesting with Vrabel, this guy in Vrabel. I don't know how they'll get along if this would happen.
Oh,
But I'm
I
going
know
to
what
go.
you're talking.
I'm going Travis Hunter here because I
Yeah.
think Travis Hunter is like if you're sitting there and Travis Hunter is sitting there and you're going, look, we need help both on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball. Why not go get the guy, right? You need a receiver help. You've had a terrible record of drafting receivers in the first round. And but I think personality wise, is Vrabel willing to take on, which you all know he's going to be a problem, not necessarily maybe negative wise, because he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think just he doesn't always know when to shut his mouth. I think it's the same with Shadur. Like they kind of do their thing. It can be a little bit of a problem, but we'll see. But I just think it's a fit that just makes sense. You kind of cover whatever you need there with that one.
They talk about Vrabel being a player's coach too, so I think that while he is more of like a, disciplined, like regimented guy, like he can figure
He
out how
can
to maybe
relate
manage
to. Yeah.
some of those things and be relatable. Yeah.
I think we
So that
might go the
takes us
same on this one. I think we might go the same on this one.
well,
I have a feeling.
I don't know, because Jacksonville is one of those teams where it's like they have a lot of needs to
Yeah.
address. The one that I keep reading the most with like the Jacksonville blogs and stuff is the secondary. So since Travis Hunter's already
Interesting.
off the board here, I'm going with best available secondary guy right here, and that's Will Johnson to me from Michigan, cornerback. Unfortunately, well, this might be a little bit of a reach because with the whole foot injury that he had, which is why he missed the last few games of the season, he probably won't run a 40-yard dash, so you won't really get to see how
Hmm.
fast he is. But we got to see him be a 3-year starter at Michigan, go toe to toe with some of the best in the country, like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he would have gotten to go up against Jahan Dotson too, but just a guy that he's got the accolades, got the resume at least that he's got that dog in him. So I got Will Johnson going right here, but that is pretty high, I think, for him. I still think he's like a top 10 talent, but Jacksonville does
Yeah.
have other needs I could see them addressing too.
Yeah, Will Johnson is not in my top 10. The injuries scare me with him, man. Like I just feel like he was injured so much outside of like that one really good year he had. Maybe it's just crazy, but you know what's funny though? We both have a Michigan guy going here. Well,
Oh,
I have Mason Graham going here. I think, dude, as much as he's from Michigan, dude, watching Mason Graham is just scary. If you're any offensive lineman, like you can't. He's faster than you. He's stronger than you. He's quicker than you. And he's a guy that could play a 3-4 defensive end, or he could play a 4-3 tackle. Like he's just that good. And I think if you're the Jaguars, you need D line help. I think you also need offensive line help. But I think, look, with Will Campbell sitting there, it was tempting. But I think I'm going to go Mason Graham here and get your defensive line studded where they need to be.
all right. Number 6, we got Las Vegas on the board, and we've thrown around some ideas of what they could do at quarterback because they definitely don't have one, and maybe they address in free agency. Maybe we see that Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll
That seems like a great idea.
reunited out over there. For the time being, though, I'm gonna say that this is where Shadur Sanders goes.
Nice.
Out
It
in
makes sense
Vegas,
too.
the city and the culture fits him, I think. I think that they could definitely be a front office that isn't scared by egos like that, welcomes
I
uh
mean, look who their
people
owner
like
is.
that
So,
over. Yeah. Yeah. So they fixed their quarterback issue right here and get Shedeur Sanders in the building. Brock Bowers is actually going to have somebody to throw him some decent balls. So imagine how much better he could be after that rookie
yeah.
season he had with Gardner
Uh,
throwing to him, Aiden O'Connell throwing to
yeah.
him, and
I'm there. This is where I would speculate a little bit. I was gonna like this is where I'm thinking a quarterback will be signed. Though I think the Raiders will sign. I think it's either gonna be like Justin Fields, it'll be Russell Wilson, or it'll be a guy that's out there. Maybe Darnold. So I was thinking about going running back. I think it's a little too early for a running back at least in this situation. I'm just going to go with who's the best guy available, at least on my board, and that's Will Campbell. I think
hmm
you add another tackle piece, right? Like again, if you think his arm's too small, just move him to guard, right? Like he's that good. But I think you get kind of a steal. I think at this point where maybe you don't like the quarterbacks that are available, especially since my two are off the board, and I think you go Will Campbell here.
yeah. Number 7, the Jets.
Oh, this one's gonna be fun. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. They got a defensive head coach that they just hired,
Mhm.
so I think they'll go defense here. And at least the best player available in my situation right now would be Mason Graham, and I think that would be a quite the duo to pair him up with Quinnen Williams in the middle.
It's
So
deadly. Yeah.
that's a situation I got here right now. But they obviously are another team like Jacksonville, where it's like they got a lot of needs.
Yeah.
They could go a lot of different
Especially all the
directions
releasing
here.
they've been doing. So
Yeah.
this is what I would say, Josh. Think of someone, I want you to just think of someone right here off the top of your head. What guy just speaks New York Jets? Just think about on the opposite side of the ball. That guy hasn't I haven't even chosen yet. Just speaks New York side of the New York Giants or New York Jets, but in this case Jets.
On the offensive side,
Yes. Imagine like a private jet. Just makes sense. Quarterback. I'll give you a hint.
you're going quarterback here, a third
Yes, it's gonna
quarterback
be
in
a
the top
reach. It's
10.
gonna be a reach. But look, we saw last year. I'm not counting out
Whoa, are
anything
you
now.
going Quinn Ewers here?
Nope.
Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart.
Wow.
Because listen, this is what I'm gonna say. One, the Jets have a terrible record of drafting players, so kind of off the basis there. But also, I think, Josh, I think you look at last year. Think about last year. Did we think that many guys were going to go in the top 15? We both of us like we were like
No, I
joking
mean
about it. We
it was a
joked
record
about it.
set for how many
Yeah.
quarterbacks went, I think top 10 or top
Yeah,
12 or
we
whatever it
joked
was.
about it, but I would go back to what you said at the beginning. What's the difference between a guy you get there and a guy you can get at let's say round three, right? At least the quarterback wise. I think Jackson Dart has proven at times that he's amazing. There's other times where we just lose him. We don't know where he goes. Um, and I just think out of the quarterbacks, like I don't think Jaden. I think Milrow and I think Ewers are worse than him. And so I think, look, Jackson Dart fits that like weird New York. Just he loves style. He loves to ride private jets. Like I just feel like it just fits. And
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go Jackson Dart here, and you can call me crazy.
Man, you totally threw me off. I was thinking like, okay, offense. So is he thinking Genty here? They already got Brees Hall. Is he thinking like wide receiver, maybe go McMillan here? Is he thinking Tyler Warren at tight end? It's like, nope, he's got a quarterback that I didn't see going here. And yeah, Dart seemed to be at his best when there wasn't any pressure and they were playing out of conference games to me. So I guess we'll see what the NFL GMs think of him. But yeah, very on and off with him, but we've seen him be able to do it at times, and I think it's just a matter of handling the pressure and being consistent. But yeah, Jackson Dart to the Jets, dang.
You're just like
There's
you're in
always one
shock right now,
reach.
man.
There's always one reach, man. Like Michael Penix was kind of that reach to Atlanta where they also just signed a quarterback, Kirk Cousins, to a big deal, and you're like, didn't see
Well,
that
it's
coming.
a room. It's always for me though. You know that. Like I always have to throw one in there that just throws you off.
Yeah. Hmm. Man, so we
We might
got
go the same here. We might go the same here. Actually, I think we might.
Carolina,
Yeah, I think we're going the same.
Carolina at 8. Yeah, I've read some of the Carolina blogs and they're thinking either like interior defensive line or they're thinking like with the way that Bryce Young finished hot after last season, like continue to fuel that and get him help. And
Okay, we're not going the same way. Never mind.
that's where I'm leaning right now. So this is the first wide receiver off the board here is Teteroa. I think I said that right. McMillan from Arizona.
Yeah,
I
from
probably
Hawaii.
butchered it.
It's from Hawaii. We can't say these names.
Yeah, but
That's interesting.
I
Okay,
think
that's interesting.
I think the clear cut wide receiver one right here. Uh, definitely has got the numbers. Had a solid showing in college. Uh, get you another weapon for your quarterback here. I don't think Carolina's giving up on Bryce Young anytime soon. And like I was just saying, the second half last year for him looked like he turned a corner and might have been able to figure it out. So
Hmm.
at least in that sense, I would lean towards Carolina continuing
Interesting.
to get some help for their
Hmm.
franchise quarterback.
Hmm. Not where I thought you were going to go with this, but I'm going edge rusher here.
Okay.
I think Shamar Stewart shooting up my boards, right?
Hmm.
This is the guy I wouldn't mind if the Browns traded down and got him either, right? And got some picks for him. I think Shamar Stewart is just a guy that I think, dude, like looking at how identical his numbers are to Garrett and just seeing like his size and like again, like I love what they asked him, like, why didn't you have any sacks? He goes, well, I wasn't really asked to be like an assassin. Like he's just like I was there, just doing what my job was to do. Um, so I think, look, like you said, D line, interior D line. I've also heard edge a little bit as well. It's like, why don't you get a guy who's just twitchy? He's another guy like James Pierce was tempted here. I was tempting here with James Pierce, but I think James Pierce is too light to be a defense. I still don't believe he's going to be a defensive end. He's only like 235, 240 pounds. Um, so I'm going to go Shamar Stewart here at 8. This is also a pick I really strongly believe that they could trade down out of. I really do believe that.
Yeah, the edge guys, it's going to be interesting seeing, like, I guess the order that they go in because I'm not really sure. There's a whole lot that separates them after a guy like Abdul Carter because then you got,
Mike
uh,
Green,
just mentioned Stewart, yeah, Mike Green, Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, and then you mentioned James Pierce. So it's like, yeah, there's a,
Chilwell, Sawyer.
yeah, for sure. We'll see where they all, I guess, fall. Definitely a lot of need for edge, though, in the first round at least. So I'm going edge at pick 9 over here with New Orleans. I know that Cam Jordan's been a staple over there for a while, but he's going to be on his way out soon, and they can go ahead and get their next guy. It's not Stewart for me, but it's Jalen Walker from Georgia. One of those teams that's just like they got a brand for developing guys on the defensive line. We've seen a few of them over on the Philly defense right now that are balling out, and Traven Walker's starting to, show or reach his potential over in Jacksonville. So Jordan Walker maybe could be that next great Georgia defensive lineman to hit the NFL. So picking him to basically get ready to, I guess, team up with Cam Jordan for now and then eventually replace him over in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's interesting. For me at 9, I'm going tight end here. I think Tyler Warren, dude, that dude is just, dude, he's like the Taysom Hill, but like 3 times the size. Like he's just like he can do everything. Obviously, they got rid of Taysom Hill. Not saying they're the same player. Please, everyone, don't kill me in the comments. I'm saying like
Hmm.
what he did at Penn State was very similar to what Taysom Hill was doing in New Orleans.
I think
Um,
since we're going also with non like former quarterbacks, maybe what Deebo Samuel did with
Yeah,
San
exactly.
Francisco.
Exactly. So I think Tyler Warren, man, like I think that's a perfect fit in an offense that he kind of could be a Brock Bowers where he's going to kind of play all over the place. You can put him in the backfield. You can put him, heck, under center if you want to do QB sneaks. I just think Tyler Warren is a guy that I think you can build around. You have Chris Olave. You have these guys that you can kind of now build around and really find who you think do what you think is best for your team in the long run.
Man, we're about to get to pick 10, Ben, and I don't think we've had a single common pick yet.
No, this is a rarity, by the way. People don't realize that usually our first mock draft is usually almost
The
exactly the
first
same.
few, and then it's like maybe after that we might have like the same position. We just like a certain
Yeah,
guy better, and
but
then
we
it
haven't
just like
even
totally
been on
goes
the
off the
same
rails maybe
world
after pick
here.
10. But yeah, we haven't even had the same player go at any spot. See if that changes later in the draft. But we're at pick 10 now. Chicago Bears. Uh,
They've made some trades, by the way. They've gotten a guard and two guards in the last day, so they made a couple trades.
okay.
So Joe
Well,
Thuney, Joe Thuney, right, from the Chiefs, they traded for him, and they traded for Jonah Jackson. So two
Jonah
guards.
Jackson. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this pick here is continuing to strengthen the offensive line at tackle. A guy that had a really solid combine performance, Armand Membo.
Yep.
I think I pronounced that right. Some of these names are tricky, fellas. But yeah, a tackle that had a really solid combine performance. I know some people are at least comparing his measurables to Will Campbell, who everybody's saying is the best tackle. And this guy at least is a guy that could be shooting up the boards. There's maybe a few other tackles that could go right here,
Josh
but
Simmons.
yeah, Simmons could be a guy. Kelvin Banks is another guy that could maybe go in this spot right here. But yeah, Chicago trying to get some more protection. I know they just made some trades for some guys in the interior. Now they can draft another guy on the outside to continue to protect your number one pick from last
You
year.
know, I was really thinking about going Josh Simmons here, but what's something that you could add to this offense that could just make it even more deadly? What do you think?
Well, they already drafted a Dunze last year. I don't know if they're going to keep Keenan Allen. They went out and got Swift. They could get, man, you could be going Genty right here. You could be going McMillan right here, or you could be going Colson Loveland right here.
I'm going Ashton Genty right here. I could
Okay.
see this offense, dude, with Ashton Genty. You have, if you can keep Keenan Allen, if you can keep some of these other guys, dude. Oh, there was one. I just don't want to give him to the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys would ruin Genty. So I just figured this is probably the perfect spot, and I think it's a great fit. I think the way they run the offense, and I think the way they're going to run the offense this year. I think it's just going to be a really great addition. And with Swift there, you don't have to give him 250 carries a year, 300 carries. You can now kind of divvy it out at least to keep him until Swift gets a little older, and then you could start giving more to Genty. I think that's going to really be nice.
Yeah, Detroit's a team where it's like they've
You mean
got
Chicago?
two running backs that
Don't do that.
they use pretty well
Oh,
with
I know what you mean because of the Ben Johnson. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, I was gonna say like just the way that they use David Montgomery and the way
Yeah,
they use a rookie first rounder Jameer
that's
Gibbs. It's
true.
like
That's true. Yeah.
they have figured out, I think, how to balance those out pretty well. And I know Genty's not exactly like the same style that Jameer Gibbs is. That'd be more what
He's a
Swift does,
freak
but
though.
the roles can work there. So we're at 11 now, and San Francisco's on the board here, and I don't know what they're thinking because they just traded Debo away. They're at least open to trading Brandon Ayuk after giving him that big payday. Uh, so they could have a need for weapons. And Brock Purdy's a guy that I
They
think
need
has
they need
mostly
offensive
enjoyed
line
success
help.
because of how much he's had around him. Uh, but I think San Francisco might maybe go back to some of their original roots on the defensive side. They got some guys that they're going to have to figure out if they're going to re-sign or not. We talked about Greenlaw, we talked about Ward, but right now this is where I think Shamar Stewart could go, or at least an edge rusher. Get back to getting after the quarterback, bringing a guy that can do that along with Nick Bosa on the opposite end. So Shamar Stewart right here to San Francisco for me.
That's an interesting one. I was thinking about going edge maybe too with like a James Pierce or a Mike Green here, but I'm gonna go actually go tackle. I think here. I think you get again. You got to protect the merchandise, right? That's what they always say, right? Brock
Yeah.
Purdy does have some injury issues. I'm gonna go my man Josh Simmons from Ohio State. I know he didn't play at the end of the year, obviously because of the torn patellar tendon or whatever. But they've said he's coming back strong. He looks good. We'll see about the pro day. We'll see if he does anything at pro day. But dude, I just think with what he can do at left tackle, he went to college originally out at San Diego State, so I think that kind of fits going back that way. And I think Josh Simmons going to San Francisco here.
Mm.
We are
Yeah,
literally not
Simmons.
doing anything.
I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it right here. I do not have Simmons going first round, and I don't think a lot of other people do right now, and it probably is the health stuff. But
I'll take it. That's fine. I'll be that
yeah,
guy. I'll
so
do it.
I only bring that up because it's like I do think he does have first round talent and could be like a really nice pick for somebody in the second round to steal, maybe. But yeah, I don't know where he'll go exactly, but
I
yeah.
just think too, it's also all the teams that need tackle help in the first round. Like you can't just keep going below him. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's one of those
eventually,
things
yeah,
that
you reach a point where it's like,
you have
okay,
to
now
draft
we
him.
got like two, we're almost reaching too much. Like we should just take the risk with the reward,
Yeah.
hopeful reward there. So that takes us to Dallas, and I know you just said that you don't want the Cowboys to ruin Ashton Genty, but I got them taking Ashton Genty
It
right
would
here.
be a Josh pick. Would
Well,
be a
not
Josh
even a
pick.
Josh pick. It just seems like a Dallas pick because we know that they're not afraid to take running backs early. They're taking Ezekiel Elliott at 4. We also know that they're not afraid to just take like studly offensive weapons that maybe are slipping past where they probably should because they took CeeDee Lamb a
Yeah.
few years ago when they already had two solid starting wide receivers, Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, already on the roster, and they were like, "Yeah, we can draft CeeDee Lamb right here in the first round." So go ahead and get you. And I think Saquon Barkley, with the season that he just had, is going to maybe make the running back position a little bit more sexy. Like for teams that already have like solid offenses, like a stud running
Browns
back like
keep Nick
Saquon
Chubb.
Barkley, we'll see. But Barkley took the Eagles offense to another level. Derrick Henry took the Ravens offense to another level. And I think Ashton Genty definitely has the potential that he could take Dallas's offense to another level and maybe take some of that pressure off Dak Prescott. I know that they're paying him like he's the best quarterback in the league, but he's far from it. So Ashton Genty in Dallas.
Yeah, no, dude, wholly understand. I wouldn't fight you on that. I'm actually gonna go defense on this. Actually, I'm gonna go defense for the Cowboys. I could go receiver here, which was tempting. If you have noticed, I have not taken a receiver off the board yet.
Not yet, and there's really
Um,
not that many great
no,
wide receivers to take in the first round.
no. But I'm actually gonna go. I could have went tackle as well, but I'm actually gonna go edge here, and I'm gonna go James Pierce Jr. Again, I agree with you. After Abdul Carr, you like literally you could put like six dudes there, and they would all be similar. Um, so I'm going to go James Pierce Jr. I think he just fits kind of that speed, kind of like the Parsons, right? You put Parsons on one side, you put him on the other side. Two speed dudes that are just going to eat the offensive line alive. So I'm going to go James Pierce Jr.
All right. Takes us to 13 Miami. We'll see if Jevon Holland comes back to play for them. If not, though, they're going to have a hole in the secondary. And this is where I could see Malachi Starks going right here. And this is a guy, Ben, that's been starting since his freshman year in the Georgia secondary. Absolute studs. Got all the accolades, but depending on, I guess, where some of these guys fall, he could be either a late first round. I think he's an early first round talent. There's just not a whole lot of need for safety that I was seeing from some of those teams where they maybe had a bigger need that was worth addressing. But love Malachi Starks. I think at 13, that's great value for the Dolphins, and it also fits a need. So it's got Starks here at 13.
Yeah, and also I just want to point out that there's a Charles Davis from NFL. I saw this post that he has Jackson Dart going 3 to the Giants. So I'm not the only crazy one. I'm not the only crazy one. I'm just
He
saying.
found another lone nut.
See, there's a lot of nuts in this world.
Man,
Only some are sweet. No, actually, this is where I had Starks going, but then I was like, wait a minute. What is the one thing they've had issues with in Miami? Keeping who healthy?
quarterback.
Tua. And what do
Hmm.
you need to keep him healthy? And that is a good offensive line. And what makes sense? You have a guy who had a great combine who makes sense right here. And that's who I haven't taken off the board, which is Mabu from Missouri, which I think
There you go.
it fits, right? I think you go Banks here as well, but I think Mabu he kind of feels like he's got that extra twitch that you need at tackle. And I think that it's going to make sense there to keep Tua happy.
Hmm. There you go. All right. I like that route too. So that takes us to 14 with Indy. And I got
Like,
Tyler Warren going right here.
yeah.
Colts
Makes
really
sense.
haven't done a whole lot at tight end. And when you got a young quarterback, tight end tends to be like that safety valve, that easy check down that you can do if you can't find like a receiver downfield. I know they're still trying to make Anthony Richardson work here, so this could be a nice help right here, but also just like a flexible offensive weapon. Like you already said everything that needs to be said about Tyler Warren, so I don't really add to it. But the Colts just haven't had a weapon at tight end for quite a while, and I think
Since
it,
Dallas Clark, really.
yeah, like I know there was some times there where like I'm missing some guys, but Jack Doyle is a name that I can remember. Gosh, Eric Ebron I think was there for a little
Yeah.
bit, but yeah, just
Heck, they had Mo
this year.
Alley Cox, who a former basketball
Mo Alley
player.
Cox, yes. Yeah, they've tried a lot of guys at that position, but I think it's time that you just go ahead and get your staple, like your piece over there at tight end, and that's what the Colts do here.
No, I actually agree with you on tight end. And I know this is going to seem like a really big reach. And I think a lot of people looking at the rankings go, that's a really big reach. And again, I'm
Oh,
not
not
saying
me.
that, I'm not saying that this is like maybe maybe they do trade down and get a tight end. I don't know. But I think Colson Loveland here, I think just it fits. He's almost like a leaner tight end, right? A guy that gives you kind of the Dallas Clark vibe actually more than Warren, because I think Warren gives you more of that do everything, whereas Loveland here gives you that Dallas Clark, which what did Peyton Manning do? Just throw him the ball all the time, right? So for me, I think Loveland makes sense. You can split him out wide, but you can also keep him in. And he's not a great blocker, but I think he's improved that. So I think Colson Loveland here, and so yeah, at 14.
Yeah, I probably would have gone Loveland here too. I think that the ceiling's that he's got such a high ceiling. He's gonna have to do some improvements on the blocking, but I mean, just a solid weapon. Doesn't isn't asked to do as much as Tyler Warren does, but I probably would have had Loveland going here at 14 if I didn't have if Warren's already off the board too.
Yeah,
So I took us to Atlanta, and they've been addressing the offense a lot in the first round lately, and they need pass rush help big time. Uh, James
agreed.
Pierce is still available for me. A couple other guys are, but I'm still going. I'm sticking with the Georgia route right here, and this is where Michael Williams, I think, could go. But I know there's a couple other guys. Like I said, I still got Mike Green available here. James Pierce Jr. is still available over here. I guess not right now since all things kind of seem equal to me at the moment. We'll see if anybody separates at pro day and stuff. I'll go with the school that's been producing like the solid defensive line options right now. So Michael Williams to the Falcons.
That's not bad. That's not a bad one, Josh. I'll give you that because I think we're thinking on the same brain here, except that I'm going to go Mike Green here, mainly for the
Mm.
fact that it's Marshall. Like honestly, that's like the only thing that I was like, you know what? Why not? And I saw him play against Ohio State, and he made Ohio State. He made Justin Simmons look. I mean, sorry, Josh Simmons look at times in a blender. So I mean, he's a very good defensive lineman.
And I actually got Mike Green going 16 to
Dude,
Arizona.
we're
That's
just
the closest
missing.
we've gotten so far.
That is true.
Uh, besides Indianapolis taking a tight end, just different ones. But yeah, Arizona, we talked about it with free agency. I think they need to go out and get some edge help, whether it's in free agency, maybe chasing after a guy like Josh Sweat, or drafting some help because their leading sack guy got 5 sacks last year. You gotta do better than that if you're the Cardinals. So Mike Green right here from Marshall, 16.
This is the interesting one because, a lot of places say that they need guard help. They need tackle help. They need all of the D line, which I just think is funny. And then they need obviously you could go a receiver route here. Like I could see them doing that. Get someone with Marv. But I'm actually going to go tackle route here. I think it's the same thing you go with Tua. What has been the issue with Kyler Murray? When he gets injured, then the offense looks bad. He doesn't look the same. He's running around all the time. And again, that's what he does. But Josh, we've watched NFL long enough. You can't do that and survive this league. You can't.
Hmm.
And so for me, I think Kelvin Banks Jr. You have Johnson there. Now you bring in an Ohio State offensive line coach who just coached a national championship offensive line. You bring in a guy who he coached against in Kelvin Banks Jr. I think that makes a great pairing, and I think that makes a tackle pairing that could be there for a very very long time.
So, I've been going first for these first 16 picks. Would you
Yeah,
like to go first for the next
sure.
16 picks? That'll
Yeah,
put us
it's
at 17 here with Cincinnati.
it's an interesting one here because they just found, I don't know if you guys saw also today as we're recording this, is Hubbard retired for the Bengals. A Cincinnati native retired for the Bengals. They obviously just got T. Higgins, which means you don't really need to go receiver here. I know a lot of people say they do. I'm like, where would the guy play within that group? But you could go interior line. And actually, I was very tempted actually to go maybe go tackle, right? Because they've sucked, right? But actually, what I'm going to do
Hmm.
is, and this is going to seem like a really stupid reach, and I know Josh is about to kill me for
Oh,
this.
are you going Donovan Jackson here?
I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not. I'm going actually Tate Ratledge from Georgia. He's a guard. They just cut their guard, who he was ranked the worst in every category when it came to pass protection, and also one of the worst running guys. And Tate Ratledge is the guy who, sorry, Ratledge, not Rutledge. I don't know why I said Rutledge. Tate Ratledge. He's a guy who's a guard. Again, Donovan Jackson could fit here. I just know that the Bengals they like just bigger linemen, I think. And again, I think Donovan Jackson's lost weight because he's obviously had to play tackle. And when you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Josh? Like when you lose weight, it's hard to kind of maybe get back to where he is. But I'm going to go Tate Ratledge here from the Georgia Bulldogs going to the
hmm.
Bengals. And again, this could be a reach. Again, I just didn't know what to do with the Bengals because I don't know what they're trying to do, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me neither. If I was going like interior offensive line, I was thinking maybe Donovan. Kelvin Banks is a guy that can play tackle and guard. Booker, another Bama guy at guard. But yeah, offensive line is something that's just like Cincinnati's needed this for so long, and they just never seem to care to address it in the draft. So I'm not going to predict them to address that in the draft. I will instead say defensive line with Kenneth Grant from Michigan, defensive tackle, over there to plug the run lanes and help them out there because the offense wasn't the issue for the Bengals last year. It was the defense getting, absolutely destroyed and
Yeah.
bringing a guy like Grant to help that cause out. But offensive line definitely is still an issue, and I don't know when they'll address it or how they will. But
Yeah. And this next one is actually an interesting one for me because now with what the Seahawks are doing, I had to do a reshuffle today because they released Lockett.
okay.
Metcalf just requested a trade. Um,
Oh,
so now Jack Smith and Jigba was like, "Excuse me, what are we
hmm.
doing?" So this is where my first wide receiver comes off the board at pick freaking 18,
Wow.
and we're gonna go McMillan here. I think McMillan, I did not want to go a smaller receiver like Luther Burden or Abuka because I think that's the same as what you have with Smith and Jigba. You need a guy that's bigger outside who's 6'5", 200 pounds. And I'm going to go McMillan here because it just makes sense. I know that's maybe not their biggest need, but if you're getting rid of all these dudes, you have to have someone. And also, I can see them go quarterback here. Would not shock me. I'm just saying that right now.
Hmm. Yeah, Seattle's got some flexibility too. From what I was reading from some of the Seattle based blogs, they like them to address interior offensive line. So this is where I got Kelvin Banks going, simply because of the versatility there. If they do need him to play tackle, he could do that. If they need him to play guard, he could do that. And I loved him at Texas. But yeah, that wide receiver development will be interesting because Lockett does leave a spot where it's like, yeah, JSN and Metcalf could carry the reins, but if they end up trading Metcalf, then yeah, they're going to need a spot there. And at least on my board at that point, then it's like, okay, well, do you take a Egbuka right there, another smaller receiver, or do you wait, or do you try to go out and maybe make a trade for uh, T. Higgins? I don't know, but yeah. So for right now, I got them filling in that gap on the offensive line with Banks.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Which yeah, it's just very interesting. We'll see what they'll do. But also for the Buccaneers, which are next,
Hmm.
I dude, I didn't know what to do with them because I know a lot of Buccaneers fans are saying, well, we need edge help. And I totally understand that. Like I get that. But then I've also seen a lot of people say that they need in the defense, like literally safety, corner, everything in between. But then I've also seen they need linebacker help. And I'm sitting there going, Jahad Campbell has not left my board. And Jahad Campbell might be one of the best linebackers that we've seen in a couple years, I think, just overall. And I'm going to go again, like it's 19. It's not really reaching because we've seen linebackers go around this range. I don't feel like it's too much of a reach. So I'm going to go Jahad Campbell to the Buccaneers here.
Hey, it took 19 picks to happen, but we got a same common pick right here. I had the
Look at
same
this.
thought. Jahad Campbell, 19 to Tampa Bay, fills a need at linebacker, and it ain't really a reach like you were saying because he is, I think, a first round talent. There is some other needs maybe on the edge that they could try to address, or depending on what they want to do with Godwin, maybe get Baker Mayfield another weapon. I don't know. It's just like one of those things where you're probably getting a better pick with Campbell here than you are trying to get a wide receiver at this point with the way this class is. You can maybe wait on that for a little bit, but go ahead and take the solid like. There's never any such thing as a sure thing, but I think Campbell's probably your best bet if you're Tampa Bay at this point for the value you'd be
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this next one, I did a coin flip. Literally, I did a coin flip
Hmm.
because I had Malachi Starks because I think they need the help on the back end in the Broncos. But then I also said they need receiver help badly. Like they really have no like true studs. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
is amazing how like Bo
yeah,
Nix had the
they
season he had.
really have
Yeah.
no studs. So I said, who is out there that I think could be the guy? And this is my thing though with the receivers, like that are left, right? I had Luther Burden left, Buka, Golden, even like Jaden Higgins, Alec Amimore. Once you get past Emeka Ibuka and maybe Golden, there's really a big drop to when the next like decent receiver is, or a guy that could consider to be a first rounder. Um, I I was struggling here because I decided not to go safety. The coin flip said no safety, so I said okay, coin, thank you. Um, but I think what makes the most sense here is I think Emeka Ibuka here makes sense. I think it's a guy who can do a lot. He could play outside. He could play inside. He could heck put him at running back if you need him to. And again, I'll probably change this later on, but I just think Emeka Buka just kind of makes sense in this world where Bo Nix needs a guy, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
But I also see them waiting and getting his brother Johnson as well later in the draft. So again, I maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah, maybe Ted Johnson could go there. So I do have them addressing pass catcher right here, and he's still available on my board. That's Colson Loveland. Tight ends for Denver, I think I read combined for just 46 catches last year, and I was making this case for the Colts taking Tyler Warren earlier. Is like if you got a young quarterback, like you really need somebody that you can depend on to be that like
Mason
safety
Taylor's a
valve,
good
that
idea too.
that quick check down. Yeah, Taylor could be that guy, but since I still got Colson Loveland here, I'm like, yeah, this is a guy that if you just need him to like catch passes, like absolutely. The blocking hopefully comes later with him, but that addresses the need for another weapon for Bo to work with, and also just fixes a big need for t tight end for them.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. And look, this is the next thing that the next pick that was interesting for me because this is actually where I saw Emeka Buka. I really thought this is where he would be going
A
because
lot
like
of people like Igbuka to go here.
he's a great personality. He's not going to be a problem child. I'm actually going against the grain here, and I'm not going wide receiver. I'm drafting a guy. What is Pittsburgh known for in the past years?
Defense.
And what specifically have they been known to have really good defensive guys at the back end, right? Corner, safety.
Oh, this is where
Malachi,
Malachi Starks goes,
Malachi
right?
Starks fits so perfectly on this. And I think he could fit many
Mm.
positions if you need to. Again, Emeka could go here. Luther Burden could go here. I just think Malachi Starks fits the Steelers.
I also got Pittsburgh addressing the secondary right here. The Pittsburgh's going to be interesting, man, because like offense, like I think that they're going to need it. They're definitely going to need a quarterback because both the guys that played last year are free agents. They're letting Najee Harris walk. You really need another guy opposite George Pickens to be a weapon, but for the situation right now, and Malachi Stark start off my board, I do have them addressing secondary. I think that's a bigger need, and why not go with the Thorpe Award winner right here? Get Jahdae Barron from Texas.
I mean,
The
it should
opposite.
have been Caleb Downs, but that's besides the point.
Well, Caleb Downs isn't in this draft,
He
so
probably could be though, and probably be the first guy taken.
he probably, yeah, if Caleb Downs is in this draft, he might be the first safety taken even above Starks and everybody else. But yeah, I got Barron right here. There's some flexibility there. He can be safety, he can be a corner, a little undersized. So I think that he probably could have gone higher if he was at least 6 feet. But I think just measuring in just underneath that. But yeah, Pittsburgh, it fits the brand, I think. And also just, yeah. Secondary is a need, but it wouldn't shock me if they go offense. It's just at this point, all the top-ended offensive talent is gone, and you might be better off just waiting the next round.
Well, this next guy fits a need that I think that the Chargers do need to kind of focus on. Again, they could go a tight end here, but again, I don't. I think Taylor, that's a reach to go
Taylor in
this
the first round, I
high.
think, would be a reach.
Yeah.
I think he's like tight end three, but still,
Edge also makes a lot of sense. You're losing
if they don't
possibly
bring
Joey
back Khalil
Bosa,
Mack, yeah,
and Bosa might be going. But actually, I'm going running back here, right? J.K. Dobbins, you let walk, or supposedly are letting walk. I think Gus Edwards is even walking. So you need kind of that help there. And I think Omari Hampton here
hmm,
makes a lot of sense. And it's almost like a Jim Harbaugh move to just go, I want a dude that's just going to run the ball.
yeah.
Because if you look at the other running backs available, um, Cam Scatterbo makes sense. I
You got
would la
Scatterboo, you got Judkins, you got
oh,
Travion.
and that's where I was very tempted, but I think Amari Hempton here just he's I think he's the better overall prospect than all of them, so I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, yeah. Hampton's done himself well. I think he's like made himself out to be solid running back too, and that actually might be something that I consider later on. I wasn't gonna go that route. I'm sticking with the offensive side and getting a skill guy, and I actually got Igbuka going over here. Just get Herbert another
Yeah,
guy to throw the ball
yeah,
to because like Ladd McConkey was impressive last year as a rookie, but still we need some more guys for this dude to throw to. And I know as much as like of Harbaugh's offensive identity is to run the football and being ground and pound, like Herbert's going to be the guy that like gets you there. But
yeah.
I do like that running back idea though. I could also see the edge being a possibility right now. But right now I got Igbuka going here, but that might change as I see what the Chargers do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting kind of spot there that they're at. But for the next one, the Packers, I think that it's very obvious who's left here. What's the one thing that they never do? They never did for Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, it seems like, and
Never
that's
drafted
draft
a
a
wide
receiver.
receiver.
And this is where they're going to go. Luther Burden's coming off the board here. I think it makes
Hmm.
sense. It's a guy who kind of reminds me of a Randall Cobb type guy. I think it's going to be a really good fit for the Packers.
Yeah, Packers are a tough one for me too. I know that Jair Alexander's being talked about being traded, and if that does happen, big need at the secondary. So for right now, I got Azarai Thomas, I think is how you pronounce his name,
Yeah, yeah.
going over here at this spot and filling that need that could be left by Alexander in Green Bay.
Interesting. This next one actually is where I think a running back could go at Minnesota.
Yeah,
I think it could go here. I really do. At least for Mach 1, I have like probably the best player available on my board who has not gone yet, and that is like you had a few picks ago, Jedi Barron. I just think you could do a lot with a corner. They need corner help. They need DBs. They need a solid dude back there, and I think that would give whoever the quarterback is, whoever's taking over, it's going to give them a little more confidence to know their defense is getting a little bit better. I think they go defensive first few picks here for the Vikings.
yeah, I could see that. I actually got them going interior offensive line here. I know that was another need that I saw get mentioned by some of the Vikings people. So Tyler Booker right here, guard, is where who I got going next. But yeah, defense could be something that they address too.
Yeah, this
Definitely
is.
don't need any help on those offensive weapons though. Like they're set there with
Oh yeah, for sure.
Addison and Hawkinson and Jefferson. Like any quarterback comes in is going to be set nice.
No, it's one of those things too where I'm very tempted. This next one, I'm very tempted. I could have went. This actually, the next pick to the Texans were the one I thought this could be a Buka. If he was still there, I think they would take a Buka
I
like that.
almost wanted that to
Yeah,
happen
I
too.
think they were going to take him because I know him and Stroud are very
Him and
close.
Stroud
They're
got
very
that
close.
connection, and Diggs is probably going to be
Yeah,
gone at this point.
yeah. But I'm going to go. What do they need help with? They need a lot of interior offensive line. Stroud got beat up last year,
Yeah.
and who makes a lot of sense here? But my man, Ohio State connection. Going another one, Donovan Jackson, I think fits here. A guy who could play interior, which we've seen he's an all-American interior offense lineman, but he also go, hey, you need outside help? I can do that as well. So I think Donovan Jackson makes a lot of sense here at 25.
I got Donovan Jackson at 25 too. I don't even have to add anything to that. It's just another Ohio State connection that CJ Stroud knows and it fits a need, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, it was a kind of a tough one in a sense, but not really, at least for me. Um,
Yeah.
what do you need here now? The next is the Rams. They could
The
go tight
Rams.
end. This is
Hmm.
a tight end spot that I think could be very obvious. But again, I just can't put a third tight end in the first round.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go tackle here. So basically, back to back linemen. I'm actually going to go with kind of a guy that I've heard. I saw Cameron Williams get bull rushed by Jack Sawyer, so that wasn't going to happen. But a
Hmm.
guy I've been hearing rumblings about is Gray Zabel from North Dakota State, who I've been hearing
Yes.
rumbles about, and I'm going to go here with Gray Zabel.
The Rams, yeah, I was trying to figure out what they'll do. And if I know they're trying to shop Cooper Cup, and if they do that, then maybe they get another guy to line up opposite Puka Nacua here, and this is where Luther Burden could go. So that's where I got right now. But
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, the, this I could see that too. But this next one with the Ravens, like I don't. The Ravens are always confusing because they never do anything that makes sense when it comes to drafting. Like their draft logic is weird. I do think they need offensive line help. I think that is a I think especially tackle wise. They do need some defensive help. I think edge rusher, but the problem is they're a 3-4, so I don't know what
Hmm.
guy fits in that 3-4, right? Um, so for me, I just kind of had to go with I'm going to go with also maybe a little bit more obvious of a pick because they do need a receiver help as well. We know that the Lamar doesn't have a lot of great threats outside, at least in my mind. And I'm going to go actually Matthew Golden here at 27.
Yeah, I did play around with Matthew Golden maybe right here. It's just like I think
He's on that
I don't think
fringe.
they
He's a
need,
fringe.
yeah, French first round talent there. Depending on what they decide to do with Stanley, they could maybe go tackle right here. But I just got them addressing like interior offensive line, and this is I actually got Gray Zabel going right over here. A guy that can add to the offensive line depth. It was uh solid last year. I know that I had expressed concern for Baltimore's offensive line last year with some of the holes that were left in free agency, and just like, yeah, I guess they're gonna just replace these guys with rookies and career backups, and it ended up working out. But yeah, beef up that depth a little bit. Continue to play your brand of football. Get a guy like Gray Zabel over there.
Yeah. Gray Zabel, also great name, by the way. Gray Zabel. That's just a
Gray,
great
not
name.
Greg.
No, it's
Gray, the
Gray. That's what I'm
color.
saying. Gray.
Yep.
It's
I'm let
Gray.
I'm letting the audience know in case
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough to
Gray. It's
understand.
it's an amazing name. Um, this next one, the Lions. I think it's pretty obvious where they're going because obviously they're in the big Garrett hunt. I think that could end up happening. And
Yeah.
if that does happen, then this is going to change at that moment in time if it
Yeah.
does happen.
I think they want edge though.
Yeah.
I'm with
But
you.
they will go to edge. And for me, I still have Donovan Azuruke and I also have Mikael Williams, but I'm going to go Michael Williams because I think Michael Williams just makes sense. A Georgia guy. Put him opposite of Hutchinson and watch out. That's what I'm going to
Yep.
put here.
I got edge too, and best available edge for me at this point is James Pierce Jr. So fills
Oh, he's still
the
there. I
need right there.
forgot. Ooh, that's a
Still for
late
me,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
just a little bit of like that
He's
size, I guess is
undersized. Yeah.
but
He runs a
still
4.5, so
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like dude can play football, so it's not gonna knock him out of the first round entirely,
yeah. But
but
he's a guy that I think needs help on the opposite side. He can't be like a only dude on the team. I think it's that he needs that help on the other side. Um,
yeah,
but number 29 for me, I was going to go receiver here, but then they decided they were going to go out and get a receiver.
correct.
So much for that. I'm actually going to go cornerback here, and actually Will Johnson's still on he's still there.
Yeah,
So
that's a
this I
sick
think makes
pick
a
at
lot of
this point.
sense, which I think, to be honest, could be the reality for him. And I think this makes a lot of sense there for the Commanders, which I can't stand to say, but yes, Commanders.
Yeah, commies I got addressed in the secondary too. So best available, I think for me at this point is Nick Emenwari, the safety. Fits a need over there. We'll see how many of their guys they end up deciding to hold on to. I know there's like four or five that they're gonna have to consider re-signing, but secondary is gonna be a need either way, I feel like, and go ahead and fill a need right or yeah, fill a need right there. Get it some help in the secondary.
Now we have the Bills. The
Yes.
Bills are known to never draft anything that helps Josh Allen. So
He
we're
just
going to
seems
keep
to
with that
have somehow
trend.
make it work, man.
We're going to
Yeah.
keep with that trend, and we're going to Kenneth Grant here. Two Michigan guys back to back. I think Kenneth Grant, they need help on the interior defensive line. They also need help at linebacker. They also need help at cornerback. But I'm going to go Kenneth Grant, beef up your defensive line. I think that's a really smart move. Again, maybe smarter if you get a receiver, but there's none really left. So go with that guy.
I just want to point out too, I gotta jab at you a little bit. We got four Michigan guys going the
Just
first
shut
round
up.
and just two
Shut
Ohio
up.
State guys.
Because this is the thing, Josh, this is the thing. I'm trying to be better this year because normally I put like six Ohio State guys in the first round and then I get bombarded. So listen, I'm trying to look at best players that are NFL talent. Okay. So that's what we're going to go with. That's all I'm going to
Yeah,
say on that. My dad's
yeah.
going to kill me when I said that, but
This is also in the first round, and I don't think that Michigan will have too many more guys go in
no.
the later
Ohio State
rounds
could have 15
afterwards.
dudes. So
Yeah, like Tui Mulala will probably go two. Jack Sawyer will probably go two. Will Howard will probably go two or three. Travion Judkins will go. So, I mean, it's gonna sway the other way. But yeah, I just had to make that
of course
comment
you
to
did. Yeah. Shut up.
poke at you a little
You
bit.
can shut
Yeah,
up now.
no Florida Gators in the first round either. Crazy, but
Well, that's
Buffalo.
not surprising. So
Yeah, I don't know how many guys we'll have go in this draft, but Buffalo Bills will not be taking any Florida Gators. And yeah, traditionally they do not take anything to really help Josh Allen, so this pick is probably gonna have to get adjusted at some point. But I'm just looking at the receiver room, man, and I'm just like, it's such a need that I would be willing to go with Matthew Golden for now over here. But like I said, wide receiver, uh, I don't know if I'd be excited about Matthew Golden as a first round pick. I don't know if he's that talent, but when you look around the room over there, it's like, man, they really need somebody because like Dalton Kincaid's a tight end, and I guess what the heck's his name? Who's the receiver that they took last year? Keon Coleman. Yeah,
yeah,
is
Keon
like
Coleman.
all
Yeah.
that you really got to work with out there. It's like help a dude out, man. So Golden.
Yeah. No, I look, I get that. I put him obviously little bit before you, but the guy that I'm going with here, this next one to the Chiefs, um, they they need a lot of defensive help. I didn't really know where to go with this, but I felt they need linebacker help. It seems like the Chiefs always, I feel like, are just they never have that linebacker. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they have everything else on defense. I just never hear them talk about a linebacker they have. You know what I mean? So I think Jalen Walker fits here. Maybe he's a second rounder, but again, it's the end of the first round, so it's kind of the same. I'm gonna go Jalen Walker here from Georgia.
After we saw that Super Bowl with Mahomes getting all the pressure, I'm thinking offensive line at this point. Don't know exactly what position specifically, but this could be maybe where Simmons goes for me at some point. I just gotta, I guess, get a little more confidence in other teams believing in him going in the first round. But Josh Connerly from Oregon, tackle over here is who I got going right now. I know that we talked last time, tagged, was it Trey Smith?
Yeah.
So he'll be staying in the building, so you don't have to necessarily push for a guard. But yeah, I got Connerly going over here right now.
And for our final pick of the first round, because we're doing all 7 rounds tonight. I'm kidding, we're not. Who would do that? There are probably podcasts that do that. We're just not insane.
Yeah, just
The last
type it
pick,
out at that point.
because I knew this was going to happen when I was making my mock draft about these jabs. We're going to finish on a high note as an Ohio State fan because
Mm.
here to the Eagles is going to go Travion. I'm just kidding. No, here for the Eagles, I think I love JT Tuimoloau here. I think he's kind of a replacement for Mason Graham, kind of like that, like
Brandon Graham.
yeah, Brent. Sorry, I don't know why I said Mason because he drafted earlier. Braden, yeah, Brandon Graham. There we go.
Brandon Graham. Yep.
Because I think he just kind of similar type, and I think JT is still a first round talent. I just think it's gonna be harder because he's not a pure edge, and I think Brandon Graham wasn't a pure edge. So I think that is gonna be perfect for I think JT and a good fit for him as well, and I think for the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one because between Graham and Josh Sweat being a free agent, don't know what's gonna happen there. Mekhi Becton will be a free agent that they'll have to figure out they're gonna bring back on the interior offensive line, and then of course Zach Bond. But there's not really many great linebackers. But you would hope that you could bring him back anyways, and I think they'll definitely try. Similarly, thinking with finding a successor, you're going with a successor to Brandon Graham. I'm going with a potential successor to Lane Johnson on the right side of the offensive line, and this is where you could get Marcus Mabeau from Purdue. But yeah, like I said, similar thinking just on the offensive line side of things.
You know what, Josh? This might be the first time in baseline podcast history that we finally, I think, have our own thought patterns. Because I think a lot of times we kind of combine our thoughts and then we kind of go together on things. This one, we were just like very separate. So I hope you guys
For
enjoyed
real.
this
I
kind of.
counted two common
We have
picks.
two common picks, people. You should be proud of us. We are truly maturing as mock
Free
drafters.
thinkers, real free
We
thinkers
are
over here.
freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Elon Musk even said that we're doing a great job.
Oh,
Never
good.
mind.
I'm glad
Um,
that Elon tunes in. Maybe he can quote
yes.
tweet one of our podcasts and just say nice or
Yeah.
something like that. How he will with some people.
Some would say that we are truly doing a great job. We are. We are. Anyways, that was our mock 1.0. You obviously will see it dropped here. You'll see them. You'll see on the post. They'll be dropped. But yeah, we'll have a mock 2.0 probably about 2 weeks. Usually we do about every 2 weeks. We'll come back and we'll readjust. Obviously, with March Madness coming around the corner, we're also gonna have a show where we're literally just gonna pick our picks, and it's always funny. I think because it's sad,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of fun things happening in March. It's one of our favorite months to do on the show because there's just so much fun things to do. Um, Obviously, there's hope is about 3 mock drafts before the actual draft, so that's kind of our hope, and we'll see if there's any shifting and stuff that goes on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, as some of these guys sign free agent contracts and pro days happen and stuff, I know that we'll probably have some adjustments being made. There's always also too some of that smoke that comes out, like people were talking about CJ Stroud falling out the top 10 and that ended up not being anything. But then some crazy things do happen where like a guy like Justin Fields can fall, like, as far as he does. And I guess we'll have to find out. Like some people think that Shadur might be that guy that could fall down to like late first round.
Yeah, it could happen, and again,
Hmm.
we never know, and that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast, this episode. It's been fun. I enjoyed this so much tonight, and so I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, leave us a thumbs up. Click subscribe. Hey, make sure that you're on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Comment down below. It's the best way to kind of chat with you guys, and also just hear probably my dad saying something stupid in the comments. But other than that, we hope you guys really did enjoy, and also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys give us a nice rating, and then also share it with your friends and family. And I hope you guys enjoy this great weather that's hopefully going to be coming your way very soon, and spend time with your friends and family. And until next time, we'll see ya.